morning everyone, and welcome back to the McKinney Makeover. I'm Sarah, and today we're going to make our whole wheat peasant bread. This is something that I do for my family because they eat bread, I don't, but I want them to have the best bread possible. The bread that you buy at the supermarket is full of preservatives and terrible sugar and additives, and I don't want that for them. I want them to have healthy whole wheat bread that is good for them. I also bake this bread to sell. This is one of the ways that I make a little extra money. I bake this bread on the weekends and I disperse it on Monday or Sunday afternoon sometimes. And it's a good money maker for me. So this is one of the ways that you can make some extra money on your homestead. Before we get started, I want to let you know what you're going to need. I do have my recipe book out because I don't quite have it memorized yet. I'm sure after a few more weekends of baking this bread, I'll get it down. The first thing that you're going to need is a package of dry yeast. I use instant yeast, but you can use the regular yeast. It'll work just fine. The next thing you're going to need is 2 cups of warm water. So if you put your finger in it, you shouldn't be able to feel it really. It needs to be warm because that's what's going to activate your yeast. You need some pure cane sugar. Any sugar will do, but like I said, I make an organic product. I advertise it as organic, and so I want to deliver organic. I use pure cane sugar. You're going, and you'll need, where's that at? You'll need a tablespoon of that, so not much. And then you're going to need some natural sea salt. Again, any salt will do, but I use natural and organic products, so I use natural sea salt. And you will need 2 teaspoons of that. You're going to need 4 cups of whole wheat flour. Again, any flour will do. Whatever you have, you can use all-purpose flour, you can use bread making flour, any type of flour, but I use organic 100% whole wheat flour. And then you're going to need some olive oil. Again, I use an organic brand. And you are just going to need 2 tablespoons of this, and this is just for topping. We brush it on before and after we take it out of the oven. And optional, you can put whatever you want. That oil will act kind of like a glue if you want to put toppings on. It also browns your bread on the top, but I like to put oats on top of mine. So after I brush the oil on, I'll sprinkle on some oats. It just makes it look pretty. You are also going to need a small bowl to mix your water and your yeast. I like to use a metal bowl for this because it will retain the heat and it really activates that yeast well. And then you're going to need a large bowl. And I have a ceramic bowl here. It kind of keeps it nice and warm once you add the water to it, and to mix up your bread in. And you're also going to need some saran wrap to cover this to let it set for a little while. And a spoon, but I use this bad boy because I like this end. If you actually mix your bread dough up with the handle of a spoon or spatula, it keeps it from clumping on the hand, I guess you will, or the end of it. The thinness of this really helps to mix it all together and not clump there on the bottom of it. So that's what you're going to need. And I'm going to get all my things measured out. One more time, you need 1 package of dry yeast, 2 cups of warm water, 1 tablespoon of sugar, 2 teaspoons of salt, 4 cups of flour, and 2 tablespoons of olive oil for topping, and a sprinkle of your favorite topping. We'll be back in just a minute. Alright guys, so what we have here is we have our warm water in this metal bowl, and I've mixed in with a fork the yeast. And so you just kind of mix that together. It's going to start looking a little frothy, and that's a good thing. You want the bubbles. That means your yeast is activating. And we're going to leave that sit in that bowl for about 10 minutes. In this other bowl, we have our 4 cups of flour and our 1 tablespoon of sugar and 2 teaspoons of salt. And I've just kind of taken a wire whisk and mixed that all together. So we're going to wait about 10 minutes for this yeast to activate, and then we'll combine it. Alright guys, so our yeast is activated. I'm going to try to show you what it looks like. There. Looks kind of gunky. So we're just going to add this right into the middle of our bowl. Get it all scraped out of there. I don't waste ingredients ever. So I always scrape my bowls with a spatula. All right. And like I said before, we're going to use this end of the spatula to stir this dough. Now you want to be careful that you don't over stir the dough, and you do not want to knead this dough. It will come out hard as a rock if you do. Just incorporate all the ingredients. I like to scrape the edges. Like I said, I don't waste ingredients. Get all that mixed in there. So here's the end. There's not a great big clump on there. And some of the flour will stay on the bottom and not mix well. So you might have to use your hands, get your hands dirty. And don't knead this, like I said, gently kind of just fold it in there. Okay. This is what it's going to look like when it's all mixed up. You can see the size of that. Now we are going to, and make sure you have clean hands. We're going to cover this with plastic wrap. And make sure that it's sealed well on your bowl. You don't want any air to get in there. And we are going to let this double in size. It's going to rise and double in size. I like to put this on top of my refrigerator. We have kind of an older refrigerator and it stays nice and warm up there. So I'll put this on top of my refrigerator for about an hour, and then you'll see that it doubles in size, and then we'll go from there. So I'll see you in an hour. Okay, so my dough is on top of the refrigerator and it's rising. And I've got about 40 minutes to go. But I wanted to talk to you about why I choose wheat flour. Wheat flour is just ground up wheat kernels. And so it's still in its natural state. White flour is processed. And when you process the white flour, you remove the two most important parts of the wheat, which is the bran and the germ. And this also removes a huge amount of the nutrients. In wheat flour, you have fiber, which is one of the most important parts of the wheat flour. This, when the fiber is removed, you are removing some of the benefits of eating the wheat. The wheat lowers your blood sugar. It helps control and stabilize your blood sugar. It helps relieve constipation. It wards off heart disease, and it can assist in weight loss. The wheat also contains vitamins B1, B3, and B5. It has riboflavin and folate, iron, calcium, and protein. So when you are eating white flour, you are not getting any of those nutrients, or very, very little. Now this is especially important really for anyone, because with white flour, they try to add some of those ingredients back in, which they're kind of on the right track there, but you're not getting those ingredients in their organic form. So you're not going to absorb them all. And then if you are on a diet, if you're on a weight loss plan, it's important that you eat foods that you can gain the most nutrients from. So eating things in their organic, raw, natural state is how you're going to get the most nutrients. A lot of people don't realize it, but when they go on a diet, they become deficient in many things because they're just trying to eat things that are low in carbs or low in calories. You have to make sure you're getting all your nutrients. So that's why we choose whole wheat flour. The dough has risen. All right, look at that. It doubled in size. So the first thing we need to do is get some flour on our hands because that's going to be sticky. So I just have a little bowl here with some flour. Rub my hands and make sure it's well floured. Then we're going to take our dough and just kind of split it down the middle. So I just kind of part the waters, I guess you could say, and make 2 even loaves. I'm going to take the first one out, and I have a baking pan over here, and my baking pan is lined with parchment paper. So I just kind of form this a little bit. I guess I didn't get enough flour on my hand there. And then put your 2 loaves on here. Out of the way. There we go. Just form it nicely. Okay, now we're going to let these sit on this pan for about 30 minutes because they're going to double in size again. And then we'll be ready to bake. But right now is a good time to go ahead and turn on your oven. And we're going to bake these at 425 for about 10 minutes. And then after that 10 minutes, we turn it down to 375 and bake it for another 15 minutes. So for now, we're just going to go ahead and let these 2 loaves of bread rise again. And we'll be back to put them in the oven. All right, so you can see that our dough has risen again. Woo. Try to slide it off of there. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take some olive oil, and I'm just going to drizzle a little bit on the top and take my brush and evenly coat the top of this loaf on each. And don't press too hard. You don't want to let the air out of your bread. A little bit more on this one. Make sure you get the whole surface. Got some back here I need to get. All right. And then this is where I sprinkle on my oats. Again, you don't have to use oats. You can use flax seeds or everything bagel seasoning, or just salt and pepper is good too. Rosemary, anything. Chives. You could even put cheese on this bread. Like some Asiago would be good, or aged cheddar. That would be very good too. So we're just going to go ahead and put this in the oven now. Remember, we're at 425. That's going to go in there for 10 minutes. After 10 minutes, we're going to turn the oven down to 375, and we're going to bake it for another 15 minutes. So we'll be back when we're ready to take it out. All right, you guys, it is time to take the bread out of the oven. Again, we have baked it for 10 minutes on 425, and then we turned it down to 375 and left it in there for another 15 minutes. And it smells wonderful. I don't know about you guys, but I love the smell of bread baking. One little tip I did want to give is do not open your oven while you're baking the bread. You don't want to let any of the heat escape. So as tempting as it might be, you can't open it. And I don't have one of those cool little windows in my oven door where I can look in. So I have to really make myself not open the oven. So I don't know what this bread looks like at this moment, but I've made plenty of loaves, so I'm pretty sure that I've got it. So let's see what we've got here. Oh yeah, look at that. It's perfect. Woo! Isn't that beautiful? All right. And this is a peasant bread, so it's heavy. So you just eat small pieces at a time. And then I just take a wide spatula and I scoop it right off of there and I put it on a cooling rack. And I'm going to let that get to room temperature. And then I like to store this bread in brown paper bags. I buy like the oversized lunch sacks and I store them in that. But you want to make sure that you store this bread at room temperature. It doesn't do well in the refrigerator, and it doesn't have any preservatives in it, remember. So this bread is only going to be good for about 5 days. It will be fresh for about 5 days. You can still eat it after that. It's just not going to be as great. So that's it. That's our whole wheat peasant bread. And if you like this video, please like it. If you like our channel, please subscribe. And if you know of any like-minded folks or people who would enjoy any of our videos, please share this with your friends on your Facebook or an email or anything. We would really appreciate your support. As always, God bless, and you guys have a great day.